See, so when someone says, I lost my mom, I lost my dad, well, we're just using that because that's a euphemism. That's just a term that we use today to speak of somebody dying. In reality, we didn't lose them because I didn't lose my dad. I know where my dad is. He's beholding the face of Jesus Christ. He's in heaven. He's not lost to me. The only thing that's lost to me is something that I've misplaced and don't know where it is. But my father is not misplaced, and I know exactly where he is. He's with the Lord, you see. But that's how it works. See, that's how it works. And so we have to personalize that. That has to be something that's within us. That has to be something that we know beyond a shadow of a doubt. Does that mean we don't cry? Well, I still cry. I can't talk about it without crying. I'm sorry for the emotion. But it's true. I still miss my dad. I still do. And I always will. And I should, because I loved him. I have no embarrassment over that. It just makes people uncomfortable when they see this guy up here with emotion. Well, I have it because I loved him. And I miss my father-in-law who went home to be with the Lord 2 years, almost to the day after my dad, in the same hospital room that my dad died in. I still miss him. Thanksgivings and Easters and Christmases, talking to my father-in-law. And I loved him so much. And I miss him. And I should. But I didn't lose him. I know where he is. He gave his heart to Jesus Christ. But that's what Jesus is speaking here about, guys. Martha, do you believe this? And what does she say? Verse 27, she says, yes, Lord. I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God, who has come into the world. And when she had said these things, she went her way and secretly called Mary, her sister, saying, the teacher has come and is calling for you. As soon as she heard that, she arose quickly and came to him. Now, Jesus had not yet come into town, but was in the place where Martha met him. Then the Jews who were with her in the house and comforting her, when they saw that Mary rose up quickly and went out, followed her, saying, she's going to the tomb to weep there. Then when Mary came where Jesus was and saw him, she fell down at his feet, saying to him, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. The same thing her sister had just said. Therefore, when Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who came with her weeping, he groaned in the spirit and was troubled, and he said, where have you laid him? They said to him, Lord, come and see. Jesus wept. And the Jews said, see how he loved him? And some of them said, could not this man who opened the eyes of the blind also have kept this man from dying? Jesus wept. Isaiah 53:3 tells us he is a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. There's one thing about my Savior that I love so much as I embrace, is that I am never alone. He understands, and he understands my grief because he took it upon himself. He is a human being who understands pain. You see, we don't believe in some energy, some force, some power, some kind of principle. We believe in a personal God. I have a God who cares for me, who loved me enough to take upon himself human flesh and to go through the kind of life that a human being goes through, so that I know that I can say, Lord, you know what it's like to be hungry, or Lord, you know what it's like to be without money. Lord, you know what it's like to be homeless. You know what it's like to be unloved. You know what it's like to have people speak about you. Know these things. You went through these things. So I can speak to you about these things, and I can tell you, Lord, I need your help. When Marie and I were first married, I didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. I mean, we made decisions based on, did I have $5 for the next month? Did I have $5? We bought a bed when Marie was pregnant with Corinne. We had the bed I had was just a rollaway. It was something I used to use at home before I got married, and it was a messed up old rollaway. It wasn't a bad. My mom and dad gave it to me, and I loved them for it, but I'd been using it for so long. It was, the springs were all, it was sagging in the middle. It was very difficult. Marie now pregnant, she's unable to sleep comfortably in this rollaway bed. That's all we had. It was the only piece of furniture we had in our bedroom. And so she said, we really ought to do something. I said, let me see if I can go get us a water bed, because at that time water beds were real cool and all of that. And so we went to a place to get a water bed, because she had that tummy of hers, and she needed to be able to be comfortable and everything. And so we went out and checked out a water bed. And so we found this place that was selling water beds, and one water bed, the one we wanted, was $25 a month. The one we could afford was $20 a month. I didn't have $5. I didn't have $1.25 a week more to pay for a water bed. So I bought the $20 a month one, because that's all we could afford. And that's what a lot of you did. You buy what you can afford. Would you have liked the other one? Absolutely, of course. That's the one we liked. Did we get that? No. I still remember the first morning after we set it up. I still remember Marie waking up there, and she was already about 7-8 months pregnant, so she was a little big, and she didn't know she woke me up because she was trying to get out of the bed, and the bed was rocking. And so I opened my eyes, and our bedroom was like it wasn't even a step from the edge of the bed to the wall. And so Marie was trying to swing her legs up to get it over the side of the bed. And so as she's doing that, if you've had a waterbed, you know that the edge sometimes will creep down real low. So her feet are like real high and she's real low. So she's trying to get out of the bed, and she starts to rock herself. And I can see her rocking like that. And then finally she springs out of the bed and slammed right into the wall with her arms like this and her little tummy pressed like that. I laughed with sympathy for a long time about that. I mean, we didn't have anything. You know, we've been there, and where I've said, Lord Jesus, you know, I don't have money for bills. I don't have money to put food on the table, Lord. I don't have it. I know what that's like. You do too. I don't have it, Lord. I don't have it. You're going to have to help me. I can tell you story after story about that. I can tell you story after story about that. Lord, you've got to help me. I'm doing the best I can. I can't provide for my family. Help me, Jesus. And he always pulls through. That's the God that we serve. He always has pulled through. He's always supplied my need abundantly above all I could ask or think. He always has. But I know I can go to him because, you see, Jesus had no place to lay his head. Jesus relied on followers to give to him finances so he could do his ministry. I read my Bible and I see that about him, and I know he is wounded, and I know that he understands my grief, and that's why I can come to him with confidence, and I see him that way. And there he is, and he's saying, where did you put him? And so they show him, and there he is, standing at the tomb, the shortest verse in the New Testament with the most power to my heart. Jesus wept. And as he's there weeping, and it's strong sobs, and he's weeping, the people are watching, and they say, behold how he loved him. They could see the pain in Jesus. But others are there saying, well, could not this man who opened the eyes of the blind also have kept this man from dying? You always have people who are angry at the loss of somebody that they loved. But as he's there, he's sympathizing with the pain, and he's angry at what sin does. Sin is not a friend. Rather, death is not a friend. Sin resulted in death. Death is not our friend. The Bible tells us in 1 Corinthians 15:26, the last enemy that will be destroyed is death. It's overturned, it's destroyed, it's subverted by the resurrection. It does not have final victory over us. And so there's Jesus there, and he's weeping, and as he does so, he's there at the tomb, verse 38, groaning in himself. He came to the tomb. It was a cave, a stone lay against it. And he said, take away the stone. Now Martha, the sister of him who was dead, said to him, Lord, by this time there's a stench. He's been dead 4 days. And Jesus said, did I not say to you that if you would believe, you would see the glory of God? People say seeing is believing. Jesus said believing is seeing. And they took away the stone from the place where the dead man was lying. And Jesus lifted up his eyes and said, Father, I thank you that you have heard me. And I know that you always hear me. But because of the people who were standing by, I said this, that they may believe that you sent me. And when he had said these things, he cried with a loud voice, Lazarus, come forth. Now, it's been said that he said, Lazarus, come forth, because if he'd have simply said, come forth, all kinds of people would have been pouring out of tombs. I don't know if that's true or not. But he said, Lazarus, come forth. And he who had died came out bound hand and foot with grave clothes, and his face was wrapped with a cloth. And Jesus said to them, loose him and let him go. Can you imagine the drama of that moment? For just a moment, there's a stone or some seal that's been placed over that cave.